Welcome back to this special edition of Inside Indiana Business with Gary Dick, showcasing influential Indiana women. Well, the Indianapolis Business Journal has been around for more than 40 years and continues to be one of the most authoritative voices covering central Indiana business. Lesley Weidenbener spent more than 2 decades covering politics and government before she landed at the IBJ. She's been running the show as editor for the past 2 years. Lesley, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me. I always enjoy being here, and this is especially fun.
Well, you are an influential woman.
Well, thank you.
Head editor there at the IBJ. What have you seen as the biggest change or maybe surprise, particularly for women in business here in central Indiana?
Well, it's interesting just to talk about journalism in general, that when I was first in school, most of the students were women. And when I got into reporting, lots of the journalism reporting positions were held by women. But over time, really, we've seen a lot more women climb into management. And I think that we're seeing that same thing across Indiana business in general, although you'll see that still at the very highest levels of public companies, still not a lot of women there.
Why do you think that is?
I just think it takes a long time for women to climb up through the ranks. And, women also take out time to do other things in their lives that sometimes mean that it takes a little longer for them to get into positions.
As somebody that's been around this for a while, what kind of advice, I guess, would you give to somebody that wants to jump up into a management position?
I think you just have to work really hard, and you also have to talk about what you want to do. You have to let the people who you work with know that you're interested in moving into another position, because you never know when those discussions are really going on. You never know when the opportunities might present themselves. And then you always have to be thinking about, what can I do to show that I can do more than my job? What can I talk about? What suggestions can I make that will help people see what your value could be in another role?
You talk about having big discussions. Last month, you guys came out with a huge issue in the IBJ talking about downtowns at a crossroads, really. Can you talk about that issue a little bit?
Sure.
And some of the fallout from it?
We started out with the goal of just doing a few stories about downtown, but what we kept running into was that there was so much to talk about, there was so much context, that doing one big story was unrealistic. And so we decided that we would really focus on having almost an entire issue focused on downtown. Then we could have separate stories about crime, about what it's like to live downtown, about all the projects that are going on downtown. So everybody on the staff participated, and it was an enormous undertaking for us, but we are absolutely thrilled with the results, and we feel like we learned a lot. We talked a lot about crime and how the perception of crime appears to be much worse than the reality. We talked about the fact that there are $9 billion in projects underway or in the planning stages downtown. And we talked about a lot of the challenges, too, related to homelessness and a lot of those issues. The reaction's been really good.
Lesley, thank you for joining us.